We're talking the NFL draft, and we're going to talk about trades, and I think that the Detroit Lions should really look to trade out of pick 6 more than ever. And look, I know it's hard to trade in the NFL draft. We see it multiple times. There's always trades, in mock drafts, but when the actual draft happens, not a lot goes on. But if you know Brad Holmes, he does like to make those phone calls. He does like to trade up and down drafts. We've seen it multiple times. So in this video, I'm going to talk about why the Lions should trade out of 6 and what it means for this team, building it, acquiring more draft capital, and talent-wise. But before we get into today's video, if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now for Lions Nation Unite. Try and get to 7,000 subscribers, and with your help, it can happen. Without further ado, let's get this thing going. The Detroit Lions are sitting at pick 6. That's where we at in the draft. And why do I want to trade out of that position, besides the fact that you acquire more draft picks? If you look at majority of mock drafts, and I do think a lot are fairly correct with the first 5 picks, the 4 or 5 picks, there is a couple of blue chip players in this year's draft: Jalen Carter, Will Anderson, those two specifically on the defense. I truly do believe they're not going to be available with the 6th pick. I think the odds of them being there, one of those players there, is extremely unlikely. Now, it's still possible. Anything is still possible, but I have that extremely unlikely. The Lions need to get defensive help. I think when you're sitting at pick 6, that you can still get the same talent at 6 that you can at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think you can get still the same talent with falling back. If you look at mock drafts, you got Myles Murphy potentially being there. Now, if he's sitting there at 6, I think that would be a solid option. But others got Tyree Wilson. I think you get Tyree Wilson still if you trade back a couple spots. Christian Gonzalez, you could still get him back with a couple of spots, moving back. Witherspoon, you could still get him moving back a couple of spots. Same with Brian Brzee. And by moving back and getting the same player, you're saving a little bit of money in the cap. Now, it's not a whole lot, just moving a couple spots, but it is positive, right? But you're acquiring more draft capital. You're acquiring more draft capital to help your team out. So say you're to trade with the Carolina Panthers from 6 to 9. In that scenario, the draft value, the Lions would be picking up an extra second-round pick, and it'd be an early second-round pick because Carolina would have an early second-round pick. So that would give the Detroit Lions 3 second-round picks. So you move from 6 to 9. You can get the same player, potentially, that you're going to get at 6, at 9, and you get another draft pick. What does that do? Well, it allows you, if you're Brad Holmes, say you would like to move up from 18. I'm not saying to do so, but say you're Brad Holmes, you would have another chip to be able to move up to a player you want to acquire to help this team out. We did it last year with Jameson Williams. Moved up a bunch of spots, got Jameson Williams. So you have that extra chip to move up. Now, I'm not saying that, though. But what if a player is falling after the 18th pick? You have 3 second-round picks. 3 second-round picks. You can move up there and get a player you want to get. Say you went Christian Gonzalez at 18 and you want a Bijan Robinson, or you want to get a guard, or you want to get another edge rusher or a defensive tackle. Whatever Brad Holmes wants to get, you can jump up there and get that player with that extra second-round pick. It's huge for the draft, having those picks to move up and down the draft, to get players to help win for this season, because the Lions need to win this season, in my opinion. I think they need to go to the playoffs. I think they will, but you need to get players to help do that. Say trading back, you're like, you know what? I don't need an extra second round pick this year. Say you're like, I don't need that. You decide to trade back a couple spots. What if you pick up a first round pick for next year or a second round pick for next year? Just like we did with the Rams the last 2 years. You have 2 first round picks and you're thinking of the future. There's nothing wrong with moving a couple spots back, thinking of the future, and you're still getting the same player at 9 or 10 that you would get at 6. It is difficult to trade in the draft. It is 100% difficult. But I think the Lions should explore these options. When you have an opportunity to acquire more capital, that's always a good thing. 100% always a good thing. And I look at this draft, I see so much talent on the defensive side of the football. The more players we get, the better we can fill this defense. And I know a lot of people don't want to go offense, but say you acquire another second round pick, that gives you the ability to get an offensive player that you may not have wanted already because you want to get defense. So you go at 9 and you get, I don't know, you go edge or defensive tackle. 18, you go cornerback, opposite. You have 3 second round picks, linebacker. You can get your running back or a guard. You can really fill a team out big time and go into 2023 season with not really any holes. And you're looking really good far as talent, young talent for this team. And you know what Brad Holmes has done. He's done a hell of a good job in the draft. So getting more capital for someone like Brad Holmes is a great thing. Hell, even other picks. It doesn't have to be a second, third, or we don't got a 4th round pick. Get a 4th round pick in 2023. Anything more to give Brad Holmes an ammunition for this football team is a damn good thing. So trading out a 6, I think, is something they should do. Trading up, I'm not on board with trading up from 6. Yes, you could potentially get a Jalen Carter, but you're giving up a lot. And I think the Lions have too many holes defensively, because to move up a couple spots, you may have to give up pick 18. I'm not willing to do that. I'm not willing to give up a starter for that. I think the Lions need to have 2 first-round picks in this year's draft to fill those holes that we need. Not willing to move up from 6. I'm not on right now. It's like iffy on moving up from 18. It just depends if a great player falls. I would trust Brad Holmes right there. But moving back into the first round, in the late first round, I'm on board with 2 if there's a player that you'd like. It's not going to cost a whole lot. But if you move back from 6, it will give you that ammunition you need to do. I think we need to hope for quarterbacks to go quick. And hopefully one of these quarterbacks fall Lions at 6. Whether it be a Will Levis or C.J. Stroud. I think Bryce Young's already taken by then. Hell, Anthony Richardson. Maybe someone want to trade up for him if there's a massive run on quarterbacks. I don't know. I just hope there is a run on QB. Because if there's a run on QB, that will make the pressure on teams like the Panthers, the Falcons, quarterback-needy teams, Washington, Commanders, to be able to want to gum up and trade with a team like the Detroit Lions. I think that is the best case scenario. But let me know in the comment section your thoughts. I think we should. Maybe I'm wrong. You have the same amount of insight as I do. So let me know in the comment section your thoughts on trading in the draft. With that said, folks, adios.
Perfect.